Hello, my name is John Watkins, Group Editor of Public Finance, and I'm your host for this series of Public Finance Live podcasts. This episode, we'll be discussing a topic that is piquing the interest of pretty much everyone right now, and that is artificial intelligence. In particular, we'll be delving into the transformative role of AI and automation in public sector finance departments, with a specific focus on transactions processing within local authorities, which was also the subject of a panel discussion here at PF Live this morning. The episode is sponsored by AP solutions provider Kefron, and I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Kefron's James Smith, who was a speaker on that session earlier today. James, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. How have you found PF Live so far?
Yes, it's day 2 and really enjoyed it so far. So this is my second, so I'm still a newbie. And I was at the SITFA conference last year in London, 2023. And this is day 2 of the event here in Manchester. And I'm having a great time. I enjoyed the talk and very pleased to be here.
Good. Well, we're pleased to have you. I think a good way to sort of frame what we're going to talk about today is actually by kicking off with a little bit of what you guys are and what you do. You know, tell us a bit about Kefron, how you're involved with local authorities, what brings you here to Public Finance Live.
Very good. Yeah. So Kefron is a private business, and we've existed for just over 3 decades. And the business that we were in the early days and the business that we are now is quite different. So although there is a running theme of storing people's data, so we started life as a records management business, so storing really important data or documents on behalf of public sector organisations, and we still do that to some extent today. But we are now very much a digital service provider. And the central theme for the panel discussion that I've just come from is really the platform, the solution that we developed 6 or 7 years ago, which is called Kefron AP. And simply put, it's an automation platform to support the streamlining of a transactions function in a finance department. And we're really proud of the technology. We are here with some of our customers, and we're here to carefully promote ourselves, but really more talk about the projects that we've worked on and just sharing ideas and concepts with people here, because it's generally well received in this sort of format.
Well, let's do a bit of that now. I mean, talk to us a bit about the work you're doing with councils around finance transformation generally, and perhaps an example of an authority you've been working with.
Well, I'll talk about the authority that I've just shared the stage with. Seems like a good place to start. So East Midlands Shared Services, or EMS for short, they're an outsourced function, albeit they are part of the council. So it's not a private company, who provide support services to 2 local authorities. The one is Leicestershire County Council, and the other is Nottingham City Council. And the service was established 12 years ago. And the idea is to offer a central shared services function for finance and other departments. And Elaine and Amy, who joined the stage with me there, are leaders in that operational finance function. And really the idea there is to deliver services in an efficient way, in a cost-effective way. And one of the major parts of that is what we call the transactions function, and specifically in this case, accounts payable.
AI, and specifically, not so much automation, but definitely AI is a relatively new term. You know, a lot of people, some misconceptions about exactly what it is and how it works, or how it can aid organizations. So you were on this panel this morning talking about exactly that. Share a little of the key messages and maybe highlight some of the areas that it's really starting to play a role within public sector organizations.
We didn't start life, as you'd expect, as an AI solutions provider. It wasn't a thing. It is still very new. If you sort of cut through the hype and you focus on what's actually going on right now within local authority finance departments, we're starting to see AI be used almost in an unseen way, right? So the platform, the kind of the user interface that the East Midlands Shared Services team use hasn't really changed much. But what has altered is the fact that AI is powering the processing in the background. And what we mean by that is EMS will typically process anything from 7 to 10,000 supplier bills every month, which is a huge volume. And what AI is doing behind the scenes in our platform is it is processing that data much faster and more accurately. And it is definitely not eliminating the need to have specialists in the team. So the team is still the same as it was all those years ago, hasn't changed much, hasn't shrunk, but it is enabling them to get through all this vast volume of data much, much quicker. So AI is not visible to them yet. It's kind of an engine in the background, and it's also providing benefit to us as a service provider, because it means that we have to have less people to operate the technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at the moment, it's unseen.
And then, any technology implementation, any transformation program within public sector organizations is difficult, it's tricky. What is your advice and some tips for getting that right, embarking on the journey and keeping it on track?
Well, look, staying with the theme of AI, what's really important is to, if you are a finance leader and you and your colleagues are thinking about change, particularly around systems, what's really important right at the beginning is to be clear with your team and those people that are going to use any new technology as to the intention, the real intention, as to the objectives, and to really address early on the role that AI is going to play, because there are naturally fears around it. And when we started this project back in 2022, we were talking more about automation and the fears around introducing automation tech. And that's naturally evolved to AI. But again, the team is exactly the same. But what it's doing is it's enabling them to be much more productive. So communication, as with all projects, is key. Setting expectation as to what's coming, why it's coming, involving them in the process, involving them in the decision. And that means not just involving people that are funding the project in the decision, but actually the users, and just being really, really clear with them about how it's actually going to change how they work. And EMS did that really well. They sold the project and promoted it brilliantly. I've worked on other projects where the comms was less good. And whilst the project ended up happening, it had more challenges along the way because there was much more resistance.
And is that approach important for gaining buy-in at the top of an organization to embark on this sort of program as well? I mean, given AI is still relatively new, there's a lot of unknowns, and there's some, there's some concerns and risks with any new technology as well, right?
Yeah, the scary thing to say is, and we are a technology company, we make money from promoting and delivering AI-based technology. But even we, and this is the scary part, even we don't know exactly where it's going. And obviously we're living and breathing it. We've got a whole team focused just on AI development. And so, look, you'd like to think we're going to have some answers as to where this is going in the future pretty soon, right? But we still don't know the full extent of it. But yeah, for the here and now, it's really about expectation setting and communication. And I've seen projects like this go brilliantly well, and I've seen some be really tough.
Yeah. What are some of the mistakes you see, common mistakes that organizations make when they're on that sort of journey, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, they're a little unrealistic about the project, so they think it will be done quicker and at a lower expense. And look, I think that's the right way to. I mean, that's the right way to that's the right kind of objective, if you like. You want to deliver on time and within budget, but you also need to be realistic. It's a little bit like a housing renovation project. You've got to add time. You've got to have the right funds available. But I think if the expectation is set correctly, if it's sold correctly, if people are brought on the journey, now that does mean it takes longer at the beginning, rather than sort of launching a project more quickly, then generally the project goes better.
Managing expectations and good communication. It's not.
Yeah, nothing's really changed on that front. Right? Nothing's really changed.
James, that's brilliant. Insightful chat through the panel discussion and some of the work that you've been doing with organisations, and some good tips for managing a successful finance transformation program. If people want to get in touch with you, presumably they can do that. Yeah,
there's so many choices now, isn't there? I mean, I'm a bit old-fashioned. You just give me a call, but no, I think Kefron is the name of the business, and Kefron.com is a really good place to start. Certainly, we want you to come to us of your own accord when you feel like the time is right, and when you want to have a conversation just about exploring the possible. We understand that all public organisations, they'll need to go out to tender, and we willingly participate in that process. But we would encourage some initial conversations around what's possible, what's not, and we do that in a very non-salesy way. So when anyone's ready, you'd like to just explore the art of the possible, Kefron is the business, Kefron.com, and just come to us when you're ready for a longer chat.
Great stuff. Thanks, James. Really appreciate it and enjoy the rest of PFI.
Thanks for having me.